Hi there, my name is Alejandra Alvarado. I am studying a Bachelor in English as a foreign language, and today I'm gonna answer some questions related with the course of Didactics of English. So I'm gonna talk about my experience with the observational practice. So I was observing at Universidad Abierta y a Distancia. That was the place where I do my observational practice. So in this university there is a space which name is grammar time. This space is for students from the university. So the space is divided in different levels. Level A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, and C2. So there are different tutors and they have to teach different grammar tense. So here we have some questions I'm going to answer. And the first question is, do you perceive that the teacher planned every class? He or she rather improvise in the session? Is the planning or improvisation successful or no? Okay, so the majority of teachers prepare the lesson. That was really obvious. Many of them use PowerPoint presentation, and all of them use different resources. But there were two teachers who didn't prepare the lesson. I mean, it was really improvised. They were really just talking about the subject. Even when they were really sure about the subject, he didn't use different resources in order to show to the students. And for example, one of them was just show to the student different videos from YouTube, and she wasn't able to explain to the student the subject. So it was clear that she didn't prepare the lesson. Okay, I think that it was just two cases, because as I told you, I was observing different tutors, almost 9 or 10. So, and the second question is, what is the pedagogical skill do you stand out of the English teacher? Well, there were many teachers, but something that the majority of them do was they was looking for a different way to explain something when the student didn't understand. So I consider that that's really helpful for the student, because many teachers are limited and they just only explain something. If you understand, that's okay. If you don't, they don't care. But in this case, those tutors were there, and when they noticed that a student didn't understand something, they tried to explain over again the same, but using different strategies. So, in the next question, what were the general attitude of the student toward the English class? Well, what was the attitude with their mate? Well, in this case, the students were really respectful with the tutors. Yes, so that was 100% virtual. So they were really respectful with the teacher. However, they didn't have much space to interact with their mate. So the communication was just students and teacher and student, but no the student with different students. So Do you consider students learn thanks to the teacher skill? Why or why not? I consider that many students learned um, from the teacher because the majority of them make a great effort in order to explain to them the subject and use different methodologies, strategies, and resources um, in order to make themselves understand. So I consider that they understand, but there was an exception with only one tutor, one teacher, um, because she was improvising the session, and it wasn't clear. It didn't make sense. Didn't make sense when she was talking. So she was not coherent. So that was the only one exception. Will you change anything in teacher attitude? Why and what and why? So the majority of teachers weren't really respectful. They try to keep a nice environment, so all the students, if they wanted, they were able to participate if they wanted. So all the teachers there were one of them that I really want to highlight because he used different strategies. I mean, he used a guitar, a karaoke, and obviously all the students were paying attention. They were so focused on the lesson and making question, asking question. So that was great. But there was an exception, the only one exception. And yes, the teacher that I told you that she was improvising. She kept it wasn't a nice attitude toward the students. I mean, she was really insecure about herself, the way that she expressed her idea. Um, it wasn't clear. So I consider that she should change that because the lesson was like if a student were teaching. So that's no good. That's not good. And the student, the environment was really uncomfortable. Even when I was just observing, I really felt uncomfortable in that moment. So now, and in this case, the students are not very fluent in English. What do you think? What's happening? What's going on? Okay, there are different ways to learn, and each process of learning is quite different. So we shouldn't make comparison. However, I will say that there are some students that are not fluent in English because they don't practice. I mean, practice makes you perfect. The more you practice, the better you speak English. So if you don't practice the different ability like listening, speaking, writing, and reading, you will probably be stuck in a place, and you will not improve your level of English. So that's why it's important to practice that they keep focus on writing because they do some theory. The majority of theory that they usually do are writing. They are to complete some sentence. They are to create, make sentence, talk about hypothetical situation. using grammar, describe pictures. Sometimes they use the chat in order to write the sentence that they create. So that's why I consider that the skill that they are focused more is writing. And why they are not focused on the others one? Because this space is grammar time. And they don't have enough time in order to do different, in order to use the different skill, like speaking with other or interact with other, because the time is really short. So that's it. Thank you very much for your time. Bye bye.
My name is Juliana Gutiérrez, student of the UNA. I did my internship at the Foundation Umbrella. I will talk about my Alvarado practice. In my class, I had observation class with several teachers and an old subject. Age of team planning their class. Taking into account the organization and ability and pedagogic modifiers of competition to facilitate the learning of the students who are already adults. He was always successful in teaching and taking advantage of the time, and as a result, the student career of the workshop or whatever was required to evaluate the participation of the H1. Pedagogical skills that I feel were communication with students, interaction in class, and in the development of activities, good management of the virtual data for and implementation of TIC in each class. At the knowledge level is encountered a lot reading English language and reading especially in English class. In the class, students are very receptive, regardless of the area. During the class there were only 4 to 6 students, facilitating the personalization, the teaching, and making learning an individual, enriching process and helping students to be motivated. I consider that student learning English in English class, that is, teachers other areas did not constantly reinforce English. In the other subject, there was very little use of the English language. The interaction and participate actively in each session and time is sure for every team they want to learn. Young teachers efficiently help students in their language learning process. I believe that the English language should be integrated to the student in other extracurricular areas of teaching. Finally, the teacher of the cycle 2 of Umbrella promote reading, listening, reading, and especially speaking. The interaction between students is important for teachers. They respond positively and strengthen their knowledge and vocabulary, especially in the English language. Teachers are very focused on test for skill, and more than is the andragogic model of the teaching. Everyone is even learning to read. Thanks for your attention.
Good evening, my name is Yulesmys Jiménez. I study 4 languages at United University. I am in my 4th semester and I am starting my observation institute in the order to strengthen my pedagogical process. I start my internship April 7 in the virtual modality. Tutor Juan Camilo Perez at United University. Virtual classroom English practice. First and second semester students of English A1. Observation hours Wednesday and Friday for 6 to 8 p.m. The tutor Juan Camilo Perez stands out for his excellent work as a teacher. His explanation and clear and motivation encouraging the student to the continue strengthening this language. Now is the first answer. The teacher arrives prepared for his class. This event in these sequences is followed in the subject starting with an opening, intermediary, and final activity, and the confidently his transmisses the acknowledged. Second answer, growth managerial leadership motivation willingness to understand the student, promotes autonomy, and his plays are creative. Third answer, constant attention, interest, motivation, and security when participating because the class reflects the innovation, the explanation were clear. This allowed the student to be open when participating. They did it with security because each one of the concepts was clear. For answer, yes, the answer. Yes, they learned because the skill demonstrated by the teacher evidences the understanding of the topic, the combine the 4 skills in each of the activity, and this roadnet the acknowledged what is one on the student. 5 answer. I will now change anything. 6 answer. One of the factors that influence this lot of the get down from the teacher and the way to the make the student awaken interest, but this should also be studied. 30 to the practice different exercise that where she can measure the English language. 7 answer. The teacher performs several activities in the class that demonstrate the use of each skill, so at the listening, writing, reading, and speaking. His always allows him to expand and develop his English process. The teacher is innovative and applies the use of plastic. I congratulate him for his vocation for championing the formative process of the student. Bye.